Caribou are ancient creatures. Having lived in the time of bringing in lions, they've survived ice ages and tectonic plate shifts, but they've yet to overcome their biggest challenge and obstacle. Since the mid-1900s, industrial extraction has been ramping up, and caribou herds have been unable to keep up with the level of habitat loss and destruction. Their herds are dying and populations are dwindling. For decades, the government has failed to protect caribou, and now it's down to the wire. People are tired of watching caribou vanish, and we're tired of government promises that never go further than a showy speech. We're tired of watching logging trucks take so much at the expense of so many. Across BC and Alberta, people are taking a stand for caribou. We're headed across the provinces to tell the story of people standing up to protect southern mountain caribou. Kukpi, or Chief Wayne Christian of the Splatine First Nation, has been fighting to protect caribou throughout his territory. We met up with him to learn about his vision for caribou throughout their land.
Well, caribou is, and as an animal, how do you put this, has been here for thousands of years until the settlements started happening and development started taking place, the dams going up. And our people actually harvested them and utilized them in many different forms, whether it's for food, clothing. We used to selectively sort of harvest them and using hunting fences and things like that. So we haven't been able to do that for over 100 years. I don't know of any active elders that I knew in my lifetime that ever had stories of hunting caribou. So they have a very significant meaning to us because they, as an animal, as you know, are in the mountains and move around quite a bit, and they're part of the old growth forest ecosystem. And I think they're very, very important to us in that way. The federal government and provincial government, unknowingly in their pursuit of economics for the two-legged, have destroyed the four-legged and taken away from them their habitat and taken away from them the ability to survive on the land. So the feds in the province have to start looking at things like the Species at Risk Act and other instruments like UNDRIP, federally and provincially, to reintroduce the caribou back onto the land with our help. We have to work together collaboratively on this at all levels. And it can't be an adversarial kind of thing because it's not going to get anything done. We have to work together. Argonaut Creek blockade then went up on the old growth forest. We went up, we heard about it, and what we did is we went up and did a ceremony for the participants. The significance of that, it's important. It's like bringing the ancestors, the spirit of those the animals together to help the two-legged. And so it's really important to understand in that area we've worked with BC Timber Sales on restoration of some of and deactivation of the roads there for access. And it's really concerning to us that they continue, on one hand, work with us on that kind of activity. On the other hand, they still want to log.
This is the Caribou Revolution blockade at the confluence of the traditional territory of the Silts, Sinix, Tanaha, and Secwepemc First Nations. It's an hour and a half north of Revelstoke. The blockade has been going on since July, and it was established to stop the logging of old-growth caribou habitat. Now, the people at this blockade are inspiring. They've held on and held down in the forest, even despite having a skeleton crew and sometimes only one person on the ground.
I'm here at the blockade put together by Old Growth Revolution. It's amazing the way that the community has reached out and been there for the blockade when we needed them most. So thank you so much to everyone that has come out, everyone that has reached out, donated in some way, their time, their energy, funds. It really means the world of a difference. I think also just it's frustrating because you see this community support and it's so moving and it makes all the difference, but also if we continue to stand for what we believe is best, but our government doesn't, then where do we go? So please continue to press the government as well. John Horgan needs to be held accountable for his lack of action. Saving old growth has been handed to him on a silver platter, and if he's not going to do anything about it, then I guess we have to.
The blockade has been incredibly successful. They've been able to turn around 2 road building crews, both who came in and took their logging equipment out of the area, Now, this prevented further road building into caribou habitat and would prevent those blocks from being logged.
We chose the Argonaut because of the caribou values, and it's obviously old growth. And when we got there, there was definitely road building. We knew there would be, that's why we chose the valley. And we talked to the road crew, and we said, tomorrow, unfortunately, you won't be able to go to work. We're blockading this road to protect what's back there, the flora and the fauna. And the road builders just laughed. They were like, great, we don't have to come to work tomorrow. This road is so steep, we understand why no one locally bid on it. Even some of the people coming later to pull out the equipment were like, yeah, you're right. This was a mistake to think about logging this valley, and yeah, you're doing the right thing. Other communities, other countries have sustainable logging, and that's what we're asking for here.
Folks at the blockade are here to stay until the area is protected and deferred from logging. Heading to the Burland River just outside of Hinton, Alberta. Here, West Fraser Logging Company is proposing to take critical habitat home to the La Pêche caribou herd. They plan to log 54 cut blocks. Now, the size of this project is immense. It's not just one cut block. They're taking the entire habitat. This is the migration corridor of the La Pêche caribou herd. A project this size would normally take a company 10 years to complete, and they plan on doing it in 2. Because of this, a fresh blockade has been set up to stop the logging of this habitat.
Through some activist friends, I heard about this place, so I just dropped by to check it out. And it's funny that this is literally in my backyard, but I've never really known much about the caribou or this type of forest. So I came here, I met some of the locals, and I just got the lowdown of all the information. And the more I heard about this, and the more I keep hearing about it, the more I realize how important this place actually is, and how it's quite beautiful too, and amazing. So far, it's been successful. We're getting a lot of support from the local people, which has been good to hear that.
Many people living on this land are outraged at this project proposal.
The strategy is extremely flawed. We have not, as I mentioned, protected 1 acre of habitat in this area, which is key to any survival of these herds, which they have designated as the most endangered caribou herds in the province. Poisoning, shooting ungulates from the helicopter, the seismic line restoration, I believe if those things are highly necessary, perhaps habitat protection would do a lot more and be the move that you could make to turn the cycle on protecting caribou versus what you're doing now.
I don't think a lot of people understand just how much of a joke consultation process really is. They come in, they gather information. We can tell them, it doesn't matter what we tell them. Whether there's grave sites or sacred sites, that doesn't stop them from doing what they're doing. Their mitigations, I think, is like a 50-foot buffer zone around sacred sites. And so then they say, okay, well, we're just not going to, work around this area. But the consultation process literally means absolutely nothing. I've been part of consultation groups where we've said, no, you can't do this. This area is too sensitive, it's too fragile. They do it anyway.
Pushback and resistance comes from irresponsible procedures like this one. To go ahead and clear cut the whole area does not make any sense when there is committees and groups that are in the process of trying to come up with a solution for the GOA to pass on to the federal government, and what should be done and how can it be done responsibly and properly so that the caribou can thrive and all users within the area can still continue on using, be it through recreation and or industry.
These incredible people are taking a stand against extinction, and they're fighting to change the fate of such a magnificent creature. We know and we can see the activities that cause extinction, and for decades we've been yelling for it to stop, but no one's been listening. They're going to hear us now. Share this video and visit folks near you protecting caribou habitat. Take a stand today.
Come on out, save the caribou, save the forest.